Today we are creating beautiful spring and Easter DIY projects that are easy to do. I hope you enjoy. For this project, we are going to use one of the wooden birdhouses from Dollar Tree. I am going to lightly sand it because sometimes they tend to be rough. And then I'm going to use some white chalk paint to paint underneath the roof, as well as the base at the bottom and all of the four sides of the birdhouse. And I'll allow that to dry. Then I'm going to take a beige brown acrylic paint in the color Country Twill to paint the outside edges of the base as well as the bottom of the birdhouse, then the outside edges of the roof as well as the top of the roof. While that's drying, we're going to take a mini wooden candlestick, and you can find these at Hobby Lobby, fairly inexpensive. We're going to paint that with the same Country Twill color and allow it to dry. Then we can glue the birdhouse to the top of the candlestick, just like this. How adorable is this? To decorate it, I'm going to use some of these mini birds that you can also find at Hobby Lobby. They're very colorful, they're very beautiful. They do have some wires on the bottom, so you just want to clip those as close as possible. And I'm going to glue one to the perch on the birdhouse, and then using a mini bird's nest. Again, you can find those at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to glue the other bird right on the edge of the nest and add in 2 yellow styrofoam eggs. And then we're going to decorate this on a tray that I made a few years ago. This was a Dollar Tree tray with some scrapbook paper, some snowmen as feet, and I'll leave that video linked in the description box below if you're interested in seeing how I made that. And I'm going to use this bunny. I cannot remember if this came from Dollar Tree or Dollar General because I've had it for a couple of years, but I love the way he's kind of looked like he's reaching up. So we're going to place him in the tray like he's reaching up towards the birdhouse. And I think this made just the sweetest little vignette, perfect for spring and Easter. For this project, I am using an espresso cup as well as a mini plate. Now, both of these came from Hobby Lobby in the spring shop with their 40% off sale, but you could also duplicate this project with a mug and a plate that you could find at Dollar Tree. I'm also using a metal wreath hanger from Dollar Tree, and I chose green because I thought it would just blend in better. Now, these do bend fairly easy, so the part that is curved where you would actually hang the wreath, we are going to bend that out a bit so that this will fit down inside of the cup like this. And then at the bottom, you'll need to see kind of how much you need to cut off so it'll fit on your plate. And you could cut that with some tin snips. Now I did cut mine a little bit longer because I wanted to make sure I had enough of it. And then holding some pliers on it, you can just bend that upwards like this. Then I'll hold it up to the plate to see how much more I need to cut off. And then I'll cut that excess off. And then we're going to take some super glue, apply that to the bottom of the cutoff piece. And you'll also need some clamps. We're going to place that in the center of the plate. And then I realized that my original clamps were not large enough, so I had to get some bigger ones. And you're going to put that on each side so that that glue will seal up on the plate. Then we're going to apply some underneath the bottom of the curved part and attach that to the cup, and then let your glue set up completely. Now when I did that, it did not want to stay in the cup, so I did have to cut a piece of a tumbling tower block to super glue inside of the cup. It's because it has a little curve underneath, so I glued the tumbling tower block to the cup and then the metal piece to the tumbling tower block, so it looks like this. Using some green Spanish moss and some hot glue, I'm going to attach that to the metal part to really kind of help disguise that. I am going to place that all the way down the front as well as the back, and just be really careful not to burn yourself with that hot glue. And once the glue cools down and everything's attached, I will take my scissors and trim this up as close to the metal base as possible. So mine's looking like this so far. I have some greenery from Hobby Lobby, but you could always use greenery from Dollar Tree or Walmart or wherever you like. I am going to cut a stem of this off of the bundle and then bend it so that it looks like it is flowing out of the cup. So I can hot glue that down to the metal base on the inside of the cup. And then because it was kind of too fluffy, I did take a piece of floral wire and wrap this around the center. It kind of covered the front as well as the back with this greenery piece, and kind of looks like the greenery is just flowing out of the cup. Then make sure you tuck any of your excess floral wire down. I am going to hot glue a bird's nest right on top of that metal base, and then use another piece of greenery to glue on the back side of where the metal base is. And then I'll take an additional piece of greenery to wrap around the bird's nest and then hot glue that in the front. I think these mini daisies and yellow flowers will go perfectly with this plate, so I'm going to cut those right below the flower itself. And I'm going to fill in the cup first, because I have these two miniature bunnies from Hobby Lobby. They are absolutely precious, and I thought that it would be so cute to have this one bunny on the right kind of look like it is sliding out of the cup. So I'm going to hot glue that right below the flowers that I just glued in there, and then I'll continue to add the flowers all through the cup, down around the greenery like it's spilling out, and kind of filling all of this in. I'm going to add the other bunny on top of the bird's nest. Continue to add the flowers, and I also have some pastel colored mini eggs that I'm going to glue inside of the bird's nest, as well as around the edging of the plate, and tuck that down inside of the greenery. I'll do that all the way around the plate, and then I'm going to make sure that I fill in the flowers all throughout, including the back side of where the cup is. Then, using my hair dryer and a stiff brush, I can make sure to remove all of the glue strands. For this project, we're using a 5-inch wooden crate from Dollar Tree. Apply a coat of white acrylic paint to all sides, including the inside and in between each of the slats, and allow that to dry. We're also using one of these house-shaped signs from Dollar Tree and some of their beautiful wallpaper. We're going to line this up, trace it, and cut it out, and it will be a little bit larger than the inside of the house sign. So to get that a little bit closer, I'm going to push the edge down, making a crease on all of the 3 sides, and then I can trim that down to make sure it fits. Now, I love using this because I don't have to use any glue, I don't have to use any glue sticks. This wallpaper will adhere perfectly inside of the sign. Then you can use the bottom of the crate to trace out a piece of that same wallpaper, and we're going to trim that down, peel the backing off, and adhere that in the bottom of the crate. I'm using 4 wooden snowmen from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to super glue one to each of the corners. So you're going to apply the super glue to the bottom of the snowman and then let your glue set up, and it's going to make the most beautiful feet for your tray. Now, because the slats are fairly open, I do want to cut a piece of that same wallpaper down and be able to apply that in the front with the pretty side facing outwards. So since I can't peel the backing off, I'm going to apply some super glue to the edges to make sure that my paper will adhere inside, and you'll be able to see some of that beautiful design from the front. Now we can take our house shape sign, and it fits perfectly on the back side of the crate. That's why we didn't place any wallpaper back there. And then to hold it in place to make sure it doesn't fall forward, I'll add a little bit of hot glue at that top rail. Then add in some Spanish moss, and that's why I put that piece in the bottom so this wouldn't fall through the slats on the crate. Create a little nest by digging a hole on the left-hand side. And I'm going to use the most adorable wooden flower from Dollar Tree and hot glue that right in the center at the front of the crate. And then using these two purple birds from Hobby Lobby, and I've already cut the wires off the bottom, I'm going to glue one on the side of the house and nestle one inside of the crate and add in 3 eggs. For this project, I'm using a terracotta pot and saucer. The pot is about 5.5 inches, the saucer 6.5 inches. I found these at Hobby Lobby. The pot was $1.99, which I think is a great deal, and the saucer was 99¢. Now you could leave that the color as it is. You can paint it whatever color you like. I am painting mine with sage green chalk paint. I'm going to paint the entire outside of the pot and both sides of the saucer. This only took 1 coat of paint, and I also painted the inside rim of the pot just in case you could see that. Using some 1¼ inch lace ribbon from Dollar Tree, I want to add this around the rim of the outside of the pot, and I'm only going to add a little bit of glue right there at the edge, and then only at the top as I'm going around, since this is lace and I don't want the hot glue to seep through. So I'm just going to place that at the top rim, press my ribbon down, and continue to do this until I get back to where I started from. Then I'll make sure to add a little bit of glue right there at the edge on the end to make sure it stays in place. Then I'm using 2 disc floral foam pieces from Dollar Tree. The largest one's about 5 inches, the smallest one's about 3¾ of an inch. And I'm going to glue the smallest one in the center of the largest one, and the largest one will nestle down perfectly inside of our terracotta pot. I have a greenery bundle, and I'm going to cut the stems of that off of the bundle and then take individual pieces, bend them around so that I can place this in the floral foam and kind of have it flowing outside of the pot. Now you could glue your floral foam in to the pot, but I just kind of held mine in place so that I could see exactly where I needed to place all of my greenery. I'm going to use this wooden bunny that I found at Dollar General for $1. So I'm going to sit that right there in the center to kind of see exactly where I need to add my additional greenery pieces so that they are flowing on the back side and up towards the front. To cover up the white styrofoam, I'm going to cut some individual pieces off and hot glue those down around the edge and up towards the front. And then I can go ahead and glue my wooden bunny down. And then I'm going to be placing some yellow flowers and some mini daisies all throughout, placing nice little bunches, giving it a beautiful pop of color. And I will add that all through the back side and up towards the front. And to cover up the green floral foam, I'll use some green Spanish moss and then fill that in with some remaining flowers. I hope you enjoyed today's projects, and if you have a favorite, let me know in the comments section down below because I always love to know which one is your favorite. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love for you to click that subscribe button right below the video. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.